Hello. I would like to share with you the outcomes of enhancing our TA training for the introductory labs in biology. Why did we choose to focus on peer mentoring? Well, we know that the peer mentoring experience can be a pivotal one as far as the classroom experience for the student. Many studies have demonstrated that peer mentoring serves as an effective pedagogical tool in the STEM classroom. Peer mentoring can reduce uncertainty and increase retention, and the mentoring experience is seen as beneficial to both the peer mentors and the students with whom they work. Peer mentors can also serve as role models of success in a major that a new student may be contemplating. And many studies have also demonstrated that active participation in the classroom by TAs fosters dynamics where students can feel more comfortable asking for help. In order to improve the peer mentoring experience, we had two primary objectives. The first one was to enhance training. We did this first by making our application process more inclusive and more open to any interested student who wanted to be a TA. TAs were also involved in a training program alongside the MSSC tutors, although only in the fall semester. And each semester, the TAs for Biology 109 or 110 were involved in a journal club reading that pertained in some way to pedagogy. A second goal for our project was to increase opportunities for our TAs to independently mentor students outside the classroom. TA weekly office hours were hosted by one or two TAs using an active learning model for peer-led team learning workshops, which was derived from a research article. These 2-hour weekly sessions, which we called Monday Night Jams, were scheduled for evenings when the MSSC was not in session and were held every Monday, regardless of whether writing assignments were due that week or not. Participation was voluntary. Students could attend any session and could stay for as long as they wished each week. On weeks when major paper assignments were due, Monday Night Jams also included biology students from the Writing Center to augment writing help. This study took place in the academic year 2018 to 2019. We used both qualitative and quantitative metrics in order to assess how well we met our goals. We compared the grade outcomes of the 2018-2019 academic year with data from the prior 3 years of the course. Additionally, we had an online course survey that we asked all Biology 110 students to complete at the end of the second semester. Lastly, we conducted a focus group using the Office of Institutional Research to determine the satisfaction of the TAs with this experience. I'd like to go through some of the results from this study. First of all, the final grades for Biology 110. As you can see from this figure, the final Biology 110 grades did not change compared to the prior 3 years of grades. The mean final GPA for 2019 was 3.19, which was consistent with overall GPAs from the prior years for which we had data. We were also interested in determining whether the GPAs of the students who attended Monday Night Jam sessions were different from the students who did not attend Monday Night Jam sessions. As you can see from this graph, there was no substantial difference between the GPAs of the students who attended and the students who did not attend. The Monday Night Jam sessions were really only used by about 38% of the students enrolled in both semesters of the introductory lab. This indicates that the majority of the introductory biology lab students did not seek these supplementary sessions in which to work or receive help. We know from sign-in logs that students attended Monday Night Jams more frequently on weeks just prior to due dates for major writing assignments, and they primarily attended Monday Night Jam with specific questions about their work. A few students, however, indicated that they would use the session as a space for working on their own without requiring peer assistance. We do not know all of the personal motivations for the students who attended these sessions. It's not clear whether students who attended felt that their grades were in jeopardy or whether these were stronger students who were seeking confirmation of their work. We did not look for a correlation between final grades and the numbers of visits to these TA help sessions. For the spring 2019 semester, we developed a course evaluation that was distributed during the end of the semester in cooperation with Kenyon's Institutional Research Office. Of the 89 students enrolled in the Biology 110 course, 51% submitted an evaluation. Of the students who responded, 87% of the respondents agreed strongly or agreed that they were comfortable in asking questions in class. 87% of students also agreed or strongly agreed that they felt valued, while 91% agreed or strongly agreed that they felt comfortable participating in class. When students were asked about whether they learned about the backgrounds of their peers, the distribution of responses was more broad. 32.5% of the students indicated non-agreement that the course encouraged them to understand the background of others. Prior studies have demonstrated that college students' uncertainty in their courses can be detrimental to their success. And because course resources are put in place to reduce that uncertainty, we were interested in learning which course resources students relied upon the most in order to feel supported. What we found, of the options in the survey, 54.3% found that the TAs were a good resource for assistance, and 80.4% found their instructors also a helpful resource, thankfully. One of the most interesting parts of the study were the evaluations by the TAs themselves. Earlier in the academic year, I met with several TAs who had been involved in the course for at least 2 semesters. I asked them about their motivation to apply for the position, their appraisal of what they had learned as a TA, and drawbacks to the system the way it had been. All said that they had learned better ways to teach concepts while on the job, and that they needed to slow down while they were acting as peer mentors. Several TAs, however, felt that they could be better utilized in the classroom. The amount of autonomy they possessed as a TA widely depended upon the faculty instructor with whom they were working. Class time in the laboratory was the principal opportunity for TAs to interact with students who were taking the course prior to this implementation. The following year, Kenyon's Institutional Research Office met with 5 of our TAs who had participated in 1 or both semesters of the introductory biology labs during this experimental year. Overall, their evaluations were highly positive. The TAs spoke positively about the additional structure and training that were added to the TA program. They indicated that the Monday night jam sessions were well attended, and they generally spoke to the positive change that occurred after randomizing seating plans, which was an implementation adopted from a journal article. TAs were also asked about how they felt about their mentoring role under the current system and how it might be improved upon. The group generally agreed that they would like to take on a greater role in the classroom than under the current model, and they suggested ways that their positions might be more formally recognized. Of note, TAs indicated that they would also like a feedback system similar to the course evaluations which are used for faculty. This was seen as one of the more important things that they would like to see changed. Our course implementation had 2 objectives. First, to more formally train TAs in pedagogical best practices, with opportunities to put those practices into effect with students. Secondly, by assembling a team of trained peer mentors, we hope to create a learning environment which would support learning for students of all abilities and eventually lead to greater retention in STEM. The results of our study indicate that we have made a satisfactory beginning in establishing a training program for TAs in the introductory biology labs and in providing a healthy learning environment in the introductory biology lab classroom. Clearly, there's more that can be done. Some of those things might include enhancing the training opportunities for TAs across the division and possibly creating some resource materials that are standardized. TAs who teach during the spring semester also require training the same way as the fall semester TAs. Lastly, our small and limited study was not able to demonstrate that enhanced peer mentor training is able to enhance student academic success. That does not mean it's not happening. Peer mentoring may not help all the students who take Biology 109 and 110 to the same degree, but it is still likely that mentoring assistance helps the most at-risk groups of students who take the course. There are several who deserve some thanks with this project. First of all, thanks very much to John Hofferberth for his earnest consideration of my project for this grant. Thanks also to Simon Garcia for his work in helping to train our TAs. Also, thanks goes to Kenyon's Office of Institutional Research and Erica Farfan, and the Registrar's Office at Kenyon for some of the data that we needed for our study. Lastly, thanks to the Howard Hughes Medical Institute for the grant itself.